Gabby Slocum.
I'm Ashley Bell.
Welcome to this week's episode of Netflix No! This week we reviewed the movie ATM, which is a horror movie starring Josh Peck and 2 other people.
They were kind of cool. So this was the first time we kind of delved into the horror movie-esque realm. It's not Gabby's favorite genre, and I've seen so many bad horror movies in my life. I don't usually find them worth watching, but I kind of like this one because it sounded like an interesting premise, and it also had Josh Peck in it. So I thought, hey, let's give it a shot. It was recommended to me by a friend.
The movie doesn't really start out like a horror movie, and the acting at the beginning of the movie is really awful. I'm pretty sure Ashley made the comment, what are we, 12? For the good first 15 minutes,
Pretty
probably.
much. As 15, 20, 25 minutes maybe to actually get into the film. I didn't really time it, so I don't know. But it took a little while, but once it's into it, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
The premise, basically, is people go to this ATM machine. It's one of those ones that they close in, and you have to, get a card to go into it, and it's, a small little building in the middle of nowhere, apparently.
I'm pretty sure those don't actually exist.
I think they do probably some places, but it's a walk-in one, and basically there's this creepy figure standing outside with, this hood, and you can't see their face, and he looks threatening, so they're it's 1 in the morning or something, so I don't want to go out there.
Well, let's take a step back. The 3 main characters
Good point.
are Josh Peck, whose name in the movie is Corey. He's kind of like the third wheel, best friend. Then there's the main guy, who's blonde. I don't know his name.
Me neither.
And then there's the main girl, who's also blonde, and she has 2 different colored eyes.
It was kind of cool.
So,
yeah. I don't remember her name either.
We're going to call her Main Girl.
Main girl.
And we're going to call him
Main guy.
Main Guy.
And then there's going to be Josh Peck.
And Josh Peck. So, Main Girl really super wants to date, or Main Guy really super wants to date Main Girl. And
Main girl is pretty obviously into him too.
Yeah. And they're the whole movie starts off with this office Christmas party.
It was weird.
And
it was awkward.
It was
literally
so
everybody
forced.
was 12.
Yeah.
I think she was the only female in the room.
Yeah. It was that was just really terrible. So then Main Guy offers to drive her home, and then Josh Peck is like, well, bro, you're driving me home too. And Main Guy's like,
go get a cab. And he's like, I don't have money for a cab. All these things. Honestly, if you said you were going to drive him home, stick to that and drive him home.
don't be a crappy friend.
Don't be a crappy friend. So he agrees to take him home. But then he's all like, we need to get food because I'm hungry. And now he's pushing it as a friend. He is pushing it.
And he's like, we should get pizza, but this place only takes cash, so let's stop at an ATM.
And that's pretty much where the movie turns
Begins.
into a horror movie. That's actually where it starts. So Josh Peck goes in alone. He starts calling over Main Guy. Main Guy's like, what the fuck does he want?
And leaves the girl in the car.
Pretty much.
Main Girl gets kind of weirded out being in the car by herself, and she does actually a nice job of acting that.
Yeah.
You just kind of feel really uncomfortable with her. And then she takes the keys, which is really smart.
Yeah.
And then goes out and goes into the
She tries to
ATM
lock the
thing,
door, but the thing doesn't work, so she doesn't bother locking it manually. I guess because she thinks it'll only be a few minutes anyway.
Yeah.
But she goes in, and apparently Josh Peck's card doesn't work, so he had to use the Magnum stick doesn't work. So he had to use his friends.
Yeah. And
Our Main Guys.
Yeah. That's where we see the guy standing outside the ATM.
And the hooded figure.
The hooded figure. Yeah. Who is never given a name.
Yeah. They all have kind of different reactions to him, which I thought was really interesting. The girl is the one who sees him first, and she's immediately like, I don't know about this, as probably females are pretty much used to not liking hooded figures, outside.
Main Guy seems to feed off of her reaction a little bit.
Probably because he's trying to protect her, not want anything to happen to her, which is good. And then Josh Peck is kind of like, guys, you just wouldn't use the ATM. Duh. Why are you freaking out about this? He's just a guy. But is still not willing to go out right away.
Right.
So it's interesting.
It's really great because it's the only horror movie I've ever seen where people really go with their gut instinct.
And they actually seemed pretty intelligent most of the time. I mean, some of the times I was screaming at them to do stuff just because, it felt like it took forever for them to figure that out. But it was good.
The thing that ultimately makes them not leave the ATM with this creepy guy standing out there is there's a guy suddenly in the parking lot with his dog, which really doesn't make sense, especially because they're in this hella abandoned parking lot.
Why is the ATM all by itself? ATMs will be near other establishments.
Yeah.
Obviously. I don't understand why there's nothing else around it. You don't need that much parking lot for an ATM.
Yeah.
It takes 3 minutes to go in there. It's not something with a line.
Yeah.
People don't know.
It's literally just in an abandoned parking lot next to a Christmas tree lot.
I don't know. What?
Which is obviously very temporary. Anywho. So guy and dog come over, and hooded figure goes and kills the guy.
Why?
Which is really sad, because then the dog's like, no.
But he didn't kill the doggy. So
He didn't kill the dog.
That's good. If you killed the doggy, I probably would have ended the movie.
Yeah. So, we're not really sure why he killed the guy, other than the fact that he's a psychopath,
He was,
clearly.
like, threatening them in a way, I guess. It was, like, mind games. Because the whole thing felt like he was trying to play mind games on them. Because he could have killed them anytime.
Yeah.
And I think he knew that. But, I don't know.
Now, a really key part in the movie is that, in theory, you can't go into this ATM, like, big glass room, which is what it is, without swiping your card. You need to swipe your card to get you in.
I don't quite understand that.
Me either, but whatever.
Yeah. So I guess the guy doesn't have a card, which seems really dumb, in my opinion.
Right.
If he was going to kill someone there.
Because he, like, very obviously plotted this out. That's how, like, the whole opening scene starts with him, like, drawing lines and
numbers
charts.
So he plotted this out. Obviously, he can get, like, a card.
Yeah.
None of it makes any sense.
But main girl looks at Josh Peck, and this is probably my favorite
It was
moment.
kind of weirdly halfway through the movie, too.
Yeah.
It was a really good way to, like, just amp it up a little bit.
Uh-huh. And it's like, wait, if the magnetic strip on your card isn't working, how did you get in here? And they determine that the door isn't working, like the swipe thing on the door isn't working, it's broken, so anyone could walk in. So kind of the rest of the movie is dependent upon the fact that they can't let the guy, the hooded figure, know that he could get in at any time.
What really gets me, though, is it never really gets brought up again.
Yeah.
Like, we know it's a thing, but he never finds out about it. They never really do anything to try to make it look like they need to get in. There's even a point when they run in without the card strip. He saw it, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, we thought that was going to be a huge turning point
But
in the movie.
It really kind of was, and I felt that was pretty lackluster in itself. So the whole thing was just mind games after mind games of the guy killing other people, like the police officer, them trying to get help, her writing, like, help with lipstick, all these little things to try to, like... They did a lot of really good survival tactics and stuff.
Yeah, they did.
But the problem was he turned off the heat. He was able to, like, turn off the
It's
electricity.
negative 5 degrees outside,
like,
by the way.
It's, like, because it's Christmas time. So they're, like, freezing. And they aren't dressed well enough because they figured they're at a party, you know, they only need a jacket to get through something, not to, like, survive out in the cold.
Right.
So it's just bad.
There's one major part in the movie where this guy in the hooded jacket comes in to the ATM.
And you're like, well, that happened.
And
immediately,
Josh Peck and main guy fight him. Like, they're going hard, and I am like, you go, sirs. Ashley knew the entire time.
I knew. It was too early in the movie. It wasn't, they wouldn't have done it so easily. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
So I knew it wasn't the guy, and lo and behold, it wasn't the guy, and they kill some other person.
Yeah.
So.
However, the way they killed him was really ingenious because, again, these are actually very smart characters.
Mm-hmm.
The main guy pulls one of those, like, little metallic ball kind of cords from the windows and, like, strangles the guy with it. Also, apparently everyone owns this hooded jacket with the fur.
Literally everybody. I think it was, like, in New York or something. I don't know. It was weird. But, so then they basically kill a man, which sucks. But Josh Peck finally decides, well, we're freezing. I'm going to take his jacket.
Which is the best decision you can make, and I don't understand why no one else made that decision earlier.
I mean,
I was just like, take his clothes.
After you kill a man, it's kind of... I understand why you wouldn't want to necessarily take his clothes, but survival. Survival is very important. One of the things they kept doing during the movie was they kept going to the security camera, recording, and it was kind of weird. We're like, why is this happening? And it just did it for a few seconds, and you're like, okay, whatever.
It kind of took you out of the movie, for me at least, because there was no sound on the security camera.
Right.
It made sense at the end why they did it, because at the end they showed this whole, like, montage of
what they've recorded.
Yeah, because it's like the cops in theory are looking at it.
Basically, Josh Peck dies. It's very sad. He gets killed. Then he comes back, and then he gets killed again.
Yeah.
Main girl dies.
Main girl's death is actually really sad.
It is kind of sad.
Because Josh Peck had gone out, and he, like, got stabbed with a screwdriver, and they were pretty sure he was dead, and then they're like, no, he's alive. So they, like, run out and get him and almost get killed and bring him back in, but he's bleeding and, like, whatever. So by this point, the killer has found this hose on the Christmas
tree lot, which is long enough to go to the ATM, I guess.
And he has driven or pushed a car up against the door so they can't get out. And he's starting to flood it through this, like, vent in the back.
Which someone was like, he's trying to drown us. It's like, no, he's trying to freeze us. Either way, you're going to die. There's so much water in there. So they're trying to, like, set off the alarm to get police to come.
There's, like, the sprinkler alarm.
Which they finally found the lighter again, but it couldn't get high enough, so they, like, put the paper on. But the only way they could do it is they put lit paper in a trash can that she has, while on the main girl has on the main guy's shoulders to get it up there. And the sprinklers go off and they celebrate, but then they topple over, and I guess she breaks her neck in the fall or something.
Yeah, she, like, hits that, like, little counter where all the ATM slips are.
and it just pretty much kills her on the spot, which is really sad, honestly, because they got so far and everything.
Yeah. Also, one of the issues I had with all of that, which, I mean, everything they did was super great. They were like, trash can, fill it with this, set it on fire, this is great. They're trying to use the trash can to, like, break different things. There are 2 trash cans. They're doing all these great things. But the trash can is metal. And you are putting a fire in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you are holding it with your bare hands.
Yeah. What really got me was just the ending. I don't know how I felt about it, honestly.
Ending.
It was really annoying because, like, I know so much, like, I feel like with the trial system, but basically the cops do show up from the alarm, I guess. And by this point, like, I guess he broke the glass.
Well, like, the killer guy
Oh,
was sitting outside in this, like, lawn chair watching this after he's starting to flood it. And I guess he, like, drove the security officer who he killed's car into the back end of the other car that he had pushed up
Which
against
somehow
him.
didn't hurt him at all.
But it, like, broke the entire ATM because, like I said, it's glass. But it didn't kill main guy, who is the only one of the 3 bodies, or 4
4
people
bodies, they're
in
3
there.
dead.
There are 3 dead, and he's alive.
But he survived. So he gets out the alcoholic drink that Josh Peck got in the beginning, we didn't mention it, but whatever, and he, like, really awesomely sets it on fire, whatever, and throws it at the hooded figure, and it, like, bursts in the flames, and he's really happy, but it was just his jacket. It was just,
it was the security
it was a decoy.
guard.
Yeah, it was whatever. It wasn't a real
in the
thing.
chair.
Because what happened in the end was we watched all the security footage, and basically it made it look like main guy did it all. Like, he was the bad guy. Because you never saw a hooded figure, and everything you have is just him freaking out and getting angry at things and even throwing main girl, and, like, it looks like he almost stabbed Josh Peck, and it just looked really bad. And then it goes out before any of the, like, the flooding stuff happens, like, because he destroys the camera. Which, I don't know, it all felt kind of forced to me a little bit, that of course it goes out before anything else happens.
One of the major things at the end of the movie is the cops come and they, like, drag him out, and the hooded figure is, like, off to the side and, like, gets away. But my issue with that is if cops had to have seen the hooded figure when they came up, and they would have gotten him as a witness.
Yeah.
Like, just logic-based thinking.
Like, there was, like, 4 or 5 cop cars. One of them should have seen him.
Yeah.
Like, I get that he's hooded and it's all dark and he's dark, and they're probably focused on, like, the car crash and all that.
The fire.
Cops are trained to, like, look at, like, locate the area and look at everything and not just ignore stuff that's happening.
And, we never hear about what happens with the body of the guy with the dog. That's never mentioned. At the very, very end...
I think the last thing you see
is, like, the killer hooded figure guy kind of, it looks like, plotting out another thing like this. And also, this was actually really nice continuity. I really liked this. At the beginning, we see this, like, shelf with, like, safety glasses and iPhone, like, headphones and, like, a couple other things on it. And main guy had this visor clip in his car that was basically, like, patron saint, like, protect me, blah, blah, blah.
Lol.
And the killer guy took that and put that on the shelf, so I'm assuming that the shelf is supposed to be things, like, treasures he has taken from every, like, one he has killed.
Pretty much.
So that was kind of cool, because it, like, kind of began and ended with that.
And it's basically, like, he's gonna keep doing it, and he's definitely, like...
good at it.
Yeah, and it was just...
It's just very weird, because...
they didn't explore his character enough, in my opinion.
He has 0 lines.
Which the whole point is to make it scary. You know less about him. You don't get to see his face and stuff, and he's really, like, dark all the time. He never says anything. Of course that makes him scary. If you were to make him more human, he'd be less scary. But I think that's a good challenge to have, is to make someone human and still threatening.
Yeah.
Because that's actually what he is. He's a human. He's not, like, a demon monster. He's a person.
And it's, like, it never explicitly comes out and, like, kind of tells you that this guy's a serial killer.
Until, like, the very end,
which
when
is,
you kind of
like,
catch on.
I guess what you're supposed to assume at the end, yeah.
It's just...
It's the crime seems very targeted to these specific people and not just to the location, which makes it very weird for it to end up being a serial killer.
Well, serial killers can target certain people, too.
Yeah.
A lot of
normally
times...
it's like a type.
Yeah, type. But this was in groups, I don't know. It was
yeah.
weird. Whatever. We're not going to talk too long for things. Is there anything else you really want to say? It wasn't that bad. It was decent, good to watch. It kept me on edge a little bit.
I was freaked out. I was holding, like, a little heart pillow the entire time. I'm really bad with horror. I think we mentioned that in our St. Valentine's Day
It definitely was
video.
not the worst horror movie I've seen, like, at all. But it also wasn't, like, some magnificent piece of art. It was pretty decent.
Yeah.
I would give it a go.
So What do you say on the O scale?
Like 2 O's.
That's what I was thinking. 2 O's for ATM.
One more time.
Netflix, no!
And we'll see you next week.
Netflix, no!